Good morning. Welcome to cupán thro with the Rev. This week I've just taken a small break, and yesterday we went as a family, meeting up with some others, and to the zoo. We went to the zoo, and as I was looking at the animals, the elephant and the tiger and the lions and the zebra and the giraffe, the rhinoceros, all the various different creatures, and then the reptiles into the snake house and the crocodiles. Isn't it amazing, fascinating, just how each one is its own kind? Yes, and so I'm coming from a creationist perspective on this. You see, I do believe in the laws of adaptation, which Darwin was speaking about, but I do not believe in evolution, because when I look at all these creatures, I see each one after its own kind, as is recorded in the book of Genesis. And I want to go and share this with you. And you go, oh, this is rubbish, we'll just turn it off now straight away. No, just hang with me here. The elephant looks like an elephant. The giraffe is a giraffe. The zebra is a zebra. And yes, it may be part of the donkey family or the horse family, but it's unique in its own way as well. But when we look at day 6 and God's creation of the creatures, this is something that really strikes me after my visit to the zoo. And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds. Livestock, which I have some, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it is so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And when we look at things, even on a domestic level, a cow is always a cow. It gives birth to a cow. We may have different styles of cow, but they're still a cow. Same with sheep. But the family lines, the different kinds, remain as they are. And that intrigues me. That fascinates me, to be quite honest. But also what that brings out to me is, the ones who have the difficulty in knowing who they are, truly who they are, the ones who have difficulty accepting who they are human beings. Cow has no problem being a cow. A sheep has no problem being a sheep. The elephant has no problem being an elephant. It knows its ways as an elephant. The orangutan is lying there in a big heap of orange fur, just chilled out with all and everything in the world as a pod together. We're just happy out, just being orangutans. Human beings are the ones who struggle with their identity. And here's why. Because we have devalued who we are by trying to go and bring about evolutionary processes, talking about it, but really trying to bring death to God and saying that, well, God doesn't exist or anything else, because then as a result that devalues who I am as a human being. And here's why. Then God said, let us make man in our image, and being man is male and female, as I'm going to read, in our likeness, and let them, note that, rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. And we do that, but here's the thing. Who am I? I am someone who is created in the image of God. Think about that. You are someone who was created in the image of God. Now, before you dismiss that, before you go, yeah, we've heard all that. No, what does that mean? What does it mean to be created in the image of God? That, I think, is something that you need to explore, something I need to explore, because as we explore what that means, then we understand the significance of who we are. Take a look. Look at all who struggle with identity. Look at all who are suffering from mental health. Look at all who are suffering from anxiety. Look at all who suffer from depression. But I would go and say that the simplistic reason, not the only reason, the simplistic reason is because we don't know who we are. We don't recognize that we are people who are made in the image of God, and we definitely do not explore enough what that means. Now, I just want to finish on one more thing, which I want to just put to you, and that's in John's Gospel, when it spoke about Jesus coming into the world. This is what Jesus goes and does in John's Gospel, chapter 1, and verse 12. Speaking of Jesus, says, "Yet to all who receive him, to those who believe in his name," that is, believe in the name of Jesus, "he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God." Now, if you are someone who is born of God, a follower of Jesus Christ, a Christian, what does that look like? What does that mean? Do you not think that you owe it to yourself? Do you not think that I owe it to myself to explore what it means to be a child of God? Not what the world dictates a child of God should be, because the first thing they're going to go and say is, oh, you should live like this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do the other. No, stop up. What does God say a child of God is? To find that out, I don't need to be the one telling you. You can find it out for yourself. You can find out what it means to be someone made in the image of God, what it is to be a child of God, by reading the Bible for yourself. So I want to encourage you to step out into a journey of exploration of what it means to be somebody, and you are somebody, who has been created in the image of God, and somebody who is a child of God. Can I encourage you in that exploration? Because for me, that was a life-changing experience. I was in a dark place once, and I was saying I was a failure. Everything about me was a failure. I had a very negative viewpoint of the whole of life. And then my grandmother just went and said, "Stop that." And she was driving the car at the time, hit the steering wheel, a whack. She goes, she says, "If you think that, then you're saying that God has failed, and God does not fail." You know, that was just the words I needed. It just jolted me. It was one of the few times my grandmother got mad with me. But you know what? I'm not going to say that God failed. Because when I look in the mirror, do you know what I see? I see someone who's been created in the image of God. I see someone who's a child of God. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Thank you for joining me for this cupán.